In this exam, we're given data on bank branches in the contiguous United States. It comes from the FDIC. We have the name of a bank, the unique ID of the bank, county, city, and state of the bank, and then a unique identifier of a bank branch. Each bank can have multiple branches. And then in addition, we have information on which census region each state belongs to. All right, so let's connect to the data. Here we have, this is a city, county, name of the bank, state, different IDs. And we're supposed to identify what's the unit of observation, and if a name of a bank uniquely identifies a bank. And so you can certainly see these are the names of the bank. And here are some of the big banks, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. The unique identifier is FI uninum. And so let's make that into a dimension, and let's make uninum also into a dimension, because they are basically IDs. If I just use a name, then I have 4,348 rows. If I add the unique identifier, I have many more rows. So clearly, name is not a unique identifier. We can see there's a Bank of the West, and there are two of them. So there are two banks that have the same name, but of course they have a different unique ID. What is the actual unit of observation? It's clearly a bank branch identified using uninum. We've got 76,000 branches, and each branch is uniquely identified by uninum. Fantastic. Next, many large banks have names that include the phrase National Association and so on. Okay, so let's fix that name. So let's put it in the name of the banks. Sure, add all the numbers. So let's actually put the count in here too, so we can see where the large banks are. And let's make this a little bigger. Yeah, so we want to get rid of this National Association business, and we also want to get rid of the bank, but we want to get rid of that after we got rid of a National Association, because we want to have just say Truist Bank. Okay, so how can we do that? So let's create a new calculated field, and we're going to call it name2, and we will place in name, replace well, actually, so some of them have National Association, and some of them have comma National Association. So let's first just replace National Association with nothing. But also, once we replace National Association, let's replace comma. So let's replace out of this string. So we're going to nest them together. We're going to ask it to find comma space, and that should be replaced again with nothing. And so we'll say OK to that, and let's see how that works out. It works out actually very nicely. Now we have just JP Morgan Chase Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, Truist Bank, PNC Bank. Let's get rid of that bank if it is at the end of the name. So let's create a new calculated field. Name, how about name short? And that's going to be if right rightmost characters of name 2, if those are equal to bank, then replace from name 2 bank should be replaced with nothing. Because we don't want to get rid of the word bank from everywhere. We only want to get rid of the word bank if it is at the end. So that's why we need the if statement. And otherwise, just give us name 2, name without the national association. So something like this should work. Let's take a look. Name short. And indeed, I have really nice names: JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Truist, PNC. Fantastic. US Bank. Well, that's actually, let's keep it that way because that's a nicer name than just US. It's because they did not have the comma, so the 4 rightmost characters were A and K and then space. So we'll leave it. This is pretty good. And let's go to question 3. In question 3, we need to show the number of branches for each of the top 10 banks and create a bar chart showing the number of branches and the number of states in which each bank operates. So let's do that. Let's put our name short and all numbers. Let's put in a filter. Let's put in a filter to give us just the top 10 by the number of branches. And we're going to show the number of branches. And we're going to show the number of states that they work in. And so we're going to create a new field, which is the number of states, which will be count distinct of state. Fantastic. And let's put that in the same chart. Maybe put the name to color. Let's sort it by number of branches. JP Morgan is the biggest. The third is 10th. Okay. And we have nice names. Question 4, we're supposed to create a map. We're supposed to plot cities where these banks operate. And so we've got city that has a geographic interpretation. So I'm going to double click on that. And we're supposed to make the number of branches in each city proportional. Well, we're supposed to make the size of the symbol proportional to the number of branches in that city. But we're also supposed to use color to differentiate which bank operates in each city. So we're going to put the name. Let's put the short name on color. It's going to be a lot of colors, definitely. But we also see that there's a 30,000 unknown cities. Well, that's because so many cities have the same name in different states. We need to add state to the level of detail so that it takes all differentiates. So the Tableau can differentiate between Albany, New York, and Albany. I think there's one in Ohio. So now we have 876 unknowns. So many fewer unknowns. Now, do we have overplotting? We certainly have overplotting because there are many cities where there are multiple banks. We certainly try to help that overplotting by reducing opacity, but still still there's plenty of overplotting. We have 50,000 marks. Now, each mark is a unique combination of a bank and a city. So if there are two banks in a city, then that city actually has 2 marks. It's not the number of branches because we use bank, or rather name of the bank, the short name of the bank, to differentiate a color. So there's a JP Morgan in Albany and Wells Fargo in Albany. There will be just 2 marks in Albany. Even if JP Morgan has 3 branches and Wells Fargo has 15 branches, there will be just 2 marks. So it's really a combination of city and a bank rather than brand. Okay, so in question 5, we're supposed to fix some of these unknowns. So let's duplicate this sheet and let's take a look at where these unknowns are coming from. And if we try to edit the location, we see Adams Township, Ada Township. This township, I'm not sure why FDIC reports the city of the bank branch, they add the word township, but that doesn't seem right. Let's see if Tableau will recognize Berlin as Berlin rather than Berlin Township. So I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to create a new calculated field, city corrected, and replace from city space township with nothing. Okay to that. I'm going to give it geographic role of a city. I'm going to replace city with city corrected. And now I have 783 unknowns. So it didn't help much, but it helped some. All right, let's go to question 6. Create a dashboard with a bar chart from Q3 and map from Q5. Make it interactive, so on. So let's do that. So actually make a dashboard. I'm going to put the map in there, and I'm going to put the bar chart at the top. I will actually get rid of the legend so that I have more space here. I'll get rid of titles. Again, I have more space. I could certainly make it pretty with some title, but for the purposes of this video and including this exam, we don't need that. What we'd like to do is add action. I think I said add a highlight action where the source is going to be the bar chart, the target's going to be the map. Now let's run the action on hover. We're going to use all fields. We'll say OK. And so let's see where JP Morgan is. JP Morgan is all over the country. Wells Fargo, also Bank of America. There's some like Trust is pretty much in the southern, southeast part of the United States. Similarly, U.S. Regions Bank, really mostly in the southern U.S. So clearly these different strategies, different geographic distribution of these banks is very nicely illustrated with this interactive feature. Next, considering the top 10 banks and the number of branches, create an informative field map of the US states showing the name of the top bank in each state. So we've done this in class a number of times, but you will need a helper sheet where we going to look at the state and name. Not sure, let's use the name short. We're going to use just the top 10 banks again. So top 10 by field, by counting the number of branches. Okay, so here's the JP Morgan, Bank of America. Let's put the number of branches. Let's add a table calculation. We're going to use a rank. Let's make it unique in case there is a tie, rank across, so that we know that in Alabama, Regions Bank is number 1. We're going to add a filter where we look at only which bank is the top bank, rank number 1 in each state. We're going to create a set of state and top bank combination. So top bank by state. Fantastic. And we're going to use that set to use in a filled map where the color is going to match the name of the bank. We're going to filter out only the top banks in each state. We're going to add a nice short name, and it's a pretty informative map. Okay, closely, the first bank is active here, the regions in the southern, Wells Fargo, Midwest. Okay. Let's see, what is the next question is, are there any counties in the United States that don't have any branches? Well, that's an interesting question. So let's plot every county, and let's make that a filled map so that we could see if it fills all the counties. Of course, this is just a county. Some counties have the same name in different states, so Tableau does not recognize those. So we need to add state to the level of detail, and we see that it looks like there are bank branches in almost every county in the United States. But there are some counties here in Nevada. There's a county that doesn't, it's 2 counties, that doesn't have any bank branch. Which county has the most branches? Well, it's going to be, it looks like this one, Los Angeles. It's with 1575 branches. So you could certainly add some annotations, and in the solutions that I posted, I add those annotations, highlighting this is the county with the most branches. Here's an example of a county that does not have a single bank branch. All right, fantastic. So our last question asks, among counties that have at least 1 branch, what is the average number of bank branches in a county? How does this vary across the census region? Create a table showing your result. So clearly, this data set is by bank branches. So they choose counties, but choose counties that have at least 1 bank branch. And if a county doesn't have any bank branch, that county is not in the data set. So whatever calculations we're going to make at the county level, it's going to be using only counties that have some, at least one bank branch. So how can we calculate what is the average number of bank branches by county? So one way we could do this is by creating an LOD expression, bank, just number of bank branches by county, where we're going to fix the level of aggregation at the state and county level. So we separate these by comma because county, field county alone does not identify what we mean by county. We really mean by county and state combination, and we could count the number of branches. So this would tell us what is the number of branches in the county. So I'll say OK to that. I can put that into the view. Of course, this just adds up all of the branches if I use sum as the method of aggregation. But if I change this to average, it will tell me that it will tell me average across counties. What is the number of branches? On average, there are 24 branches per county. Now, we want to see how that varies by census region. So we can open up this table, and we need to add census region. We can join these by state and state code. Will that work? Yeah, because in the bank branches we have a state. There's a state called the field called state, and the census region state mapping, we have a state code. So we map them up. We could use inner join because I believe that the census data has other than the contiguous United States. It probably has Alaska and Hawaii in it, and we don't need those. So let's do that. So now we can see how this varies by state. We can add totals here. And there's that, this is the average number of branches per county in the United States as a whole. Literally in the Northeast, we see that the density of bank branches is 3 times that of the Midwest, which really agrees with our casual observation of density of bank branches. So that's the exam. We didn't have to use an LOD expression to actually do this last problem. I think I'm still under 30 minutes. I'm going to do it one other way. You could have used an aggregate expression, aggregate calculated field. So number of branches per county, which would be, we could count unique unique count distinct, sure. I think it'll give us the same. So we count the number of distinct branches and divide it by the distinct count of state and county. So if that will work, we could actually pre-add them because they're all characters. So this gives us number of branches in the numerator, the number of distinct counties in the denominator. So let's see if we get the same result. Just add it to the table, and indeed we do get the same result. So we didn't have to use an LOD expression. A fairly complicated aggregate calculated field would work as well. That is the exam.